Alright, what's up everybody? So for those of you that may not know me, my name is Brian, and in today's video I'm going to be talking about something pretty personal. Years ago I never thought I would have posted this video, but I decided I would go through with it in the hopes that you guys will hopefully learn something from it, and that also I can hopefully maybe connect with someone that is also going through this. So I guess we'll just dive right in. So the point of this video is to tell you that I have Parry-Romberg syndrome. Now, what does that mean? So basically, Parry-Romberg syndrome is a disease that causes hemifacial atrophy. It affects just one half of the face, and basically what happens is the skin darkens and the skin tissue and the fat cells, even like muscle and bone, just deteriorate over time. They waste away. I don't know if you see my videos, you may have noticed it already. If you look on the side of my face, all of this around here is the Rombergs, and then it also is moving up my face. I started noticing symptoms when I was about 13 years old. It just started with some minor skin darkening here on the side of my chin. Wasn't really anything to be concerned about, but we went to the dermatologist anyway. They had no idea what it was. They gave me a lot of different things to try out. I know for a while I was put on a bleaching cream, which actually did help, but after a while it started bleaching the good skin around it also. I remember the doctor would ask me all these different really out there questions. The one that stands out the most, he asked me if I had been touching acorns and like rubbing them on my face, and I'm like, we went to a couple different places, nobody had any clue what was wrong with me, but they would just kind of like try different things, and I basically kind of felt like a guinea pig, which is probably one of the worst feelings you can go through, especially when it's related to something medical. You never want to feel like you're just a test subject for someone. So after a while, I just stopped going, and the disease kept progressing. It wasn't until I was about 18 years old, so a good 5 years later, I was referred to a doctor here in the Chicagoland area who is a plastic surgeon, and I went to see him, and I was finally officially diagnosed with Romberg's. He told me that I kind of had the most rare version of this already rare disease. He said that most of the time it starts in the forehead and works its way down. Mine is obviously the reverse, and he said it's also more common in women than men, which makes it even harder that I have it. And at that time, my doctor told me that there were about 300 people in the world that had Romberg's. And you're just like, what? 300 people? Like, are you serious? And I'm one of them that gets stuck with this. I would guess by now there's maybe around 1,000. I don't know. I've never seen anyone in my life, just in passing, that has Romberg's. I have no one to talk to about it except my doctor and my family, of course. We don't know how I even acquired this disease. I guess I was born with it, but it doesn't start activating until about puberty. The doctors, they don't even know what causes it. I know one theory is that maybe it's from like a head blow, so it's kind of just this random thing that I got stuck with. So once I left the doctor that day, I just felt kind of hopeless, and so I looked things up online, and there's really a lot of scary things about this, which really can freak you out if you are like brand new to it and you have no idea what's going on. Not only does the skin and fat atrophy, but as the disease progresses and it moves kind of like around your face, it can get too close to your eye. It can cause blindness, any kind of eye problems. If it moves even higher up the head, it can cause even seizures, hair loss, I think maybe even hearing loss. I'm not even sure. It's just like a lot of different things. Even like the whole like side of your body can be affected because of the Romberg's. I don't really think I've had issues with that per se. I, thank God, have a very mild case of it, which I am so thankful for. I know that a lot of people have it a lot worse than I do, and so I feel like I have no room to be complaining about my own life. But another thing to mention about Romberg's is that there is no cure for it. Because it's such an understudied disease and no one really knows what it is at all. There's not been enough proper research based on myself and what I've read online with other people. There seems to be anomalies throughout this entire disease. It kind of affects every single person differently. So I know for like the hair loss thing, I don't think I've had that issue. It's kind of funny. I actually have more hair on my face in this spot, which is really shocking to me and even my doctor, because that shouldn't happen. If anything, I should have no hair there. I only have one little spot right under my chin. You can kind of see it a little bit. It's a little bit lighter, where I have no hair anymore, but that's because of having my surgeries and stuff. So that kind of leads me right into the next part. There is no cure for Romberg's, but one thing that you can do is have surgery. They're fat grafting procedures. So basically what that means is that they harvest fat from elsewhere in your body and then they re-inject it into the affected area of your face. I actually had my very first surgery just over 5 years ago. So in 2012, I remember I was really scared to go into this because I didn't know really what to expect. They took fat from my stomach, they went in through my belly button, took out fat, and then re-injected it into my face. They focused more on the side of my jaw. Then last year, in October, I had my second surgery. And again, they focused more on the side of my jaw. But the disease has been progressing more. In recent years, it's been moving more up my face to the point where it's literally like right under my eye. So obviously, that's making me really nervous. If you look closely, you can actually see like the veins in my face, like right under my eye. That's how thin my skin has gotten. It also is starting to pull my eyelid down. It's hardly noticeable right now. I'm really scared that I might lose my vision someday. I asked my doctor if he had any idea how much more this is gonna go on for, and he didn't have the answers. Because honestly, nobody really has the answers. It affects everyone differently. He told me that for some people, it will start around the age of 13, it will progress for about 10 years or so, and then it will just stop. And so I'm thinking, okay, 10 years have passed already, like this should be kind of over now. But then he also did tell me that for some people, it will progress for like those 10 years, it will stop, and then like way down the line, like 40 some years, it'll rev up again. And then he said for some people, it literally just, it will never stop. So that was kind of really great news to hear. We have no idea what's gonna happen with this. I mentioned the fact that I'm scared that I might go blind, and he told me, his response to me was basically, yeah, that might happen. So just kind of live your life to the fullest now. So because it's been worsening, I'm actually having my third surgery very soon. It's gonna be at the end of this month. For now, we're kind of done with the side of my chin, but now it's gonna be more about getting my cheek more symmetrical. This time, instead of going through my stomach, they would maybe take it from my side or my leg. That will be interesting. We'll see what happens with that. For my past ones, when they took it from my stomach, it was actually kind of harder than you would think. It's just a transfer of fat cells. Surprisingly enough, it's actually where they take the fat from that hurts the most after. It's actually not even your face, at least not for me. My torso would just be so swollen and I would lose all feeling, and they would give me this like really tight compression wrap to wear to kind of keep the swelling down. The other parts of the recovery are just icing it, taking Tylenol to alleviate pain. For my past surgeries, my recovery time has been at least a few weeks. During that time, I am not allowed to really do anything active. I basically am glued to the couch. I have to keep my head elevated. I'm not allowed to lift anything, no physical activity, no bending over even. The point of all this is so that you alleviate as much pressure on your face as you possibly can so that those new fat cells have a chance to absorb into your body. I don't think the disease has actually hit my bone yet, so I haven't had any kind of, intense transplants here. They've just been fat transfers. One thing that people kind of always ask me when I tell them about Romberg's is, does it hurt you? And I actually have never really had pain which is also really surprising. But I think because it's such a slow progression and degeneration that you actually don't really feel it. Recently, I've had a little bit of discomfort around here, like in my cheekbone, but like I said, I don't think it's actually hit my bone yet. I think my bone structure is still intact. But with these surgeries, we're trying to kind of prevent that from happening. I kind of think of it as kind of like your own fortress. You're building a fortress with these surgeries. If you add more fat into your face, the disease is gonna go through that before it can progress further and get what you already have there, which is why I think it's really important to have these surgeries done. So another aspect of having Romberg's that's been a little bit tougher is kind of more of the social aspect of it all. Because it's a disease that is attacking my face is on display for everyone to see at any time pretty much. And I feel like that's kind of the hard thing about dealing with external diseases, because your face is out there for everyone to look at and to possibly judge. There was a time when I could not leave the house without putting makeup on my face to try to block it, to try to just diminish it. I was so embarrassed about having this disease that I really wanted to try everything I could to not let people know. I hated talking about it. When people would bring it up to me, I would just kind of like give them a really short answer and just leave it at that. People have been pretty good though, for the most part. I remember back in college, there would be periods of time where I would get asked by someone almost like every other day, because I was always in contact with new people. Still to this day, I hate it when I introduce myself to someone and I'm like, hi, I'm Brian. Hi, I'm so-and-so. Oh my God, what happened to your face? Like, I hate I hate when my disease is what people notice first about me more than anything else. That still makes me feel uncomfortable. I feel like because I have a more mild case of this, people are more inclined to ask about it or to just abruptly point it out to me because they don't think that it's really anything. Most of the times I get, you have a bruise on your face. Some people have thought it's just dirt or mud. A lot of times, this was really common in art school. People would think it was charcoal. I would just like be walking through the cafeteria or walking to class and someone would stop me and be like, oh my gosh, you have charcoal on your face. And after a while, I just kind of played along with it. I was like, oh my gosh, like I do? Well, thank you for pointing it out to me. But deep down, like I knew what they were talking about. I didn't like to correct people about it because I didn't want to draw attention to it. I wanted it to be hidden as much as I could, which was hard because there's really not much you can do. Makeup only goes so far, and even then it doesn't hide the fact that my cheek caves in and stuff. But nowadays I feel like I've come a really long way with this. Now when people ask me, I'm not ashamed to talk about it. I would rather people know about it so they can learn something. Also, like, hence why I'm making this video now. I've kind of just reached the point where like I don't care. You know, it's too much of a hassle to just hide it and cover it up all the time. From time to time, I will cover it up with makeup. I kind of go through phases with it, honestly. There was one time at work at Disney, one of my coworkers for that day, she thought that I had an issue, or like it was a bruise from wearing my costume. And I told her no, I was like, it's actually a disease. And she literally laughed in my face. And she's like, no, it's not. I was just so taken aback. I'm like, actually, it is. And she just like erupts in laughter and just keeps telling me, no, it's not. Like, that's not a disease. I can't argue with you. Like, this is a disease. If you don't want to hear about it, then I can't make you listen. That was one of the worst instances I had. But for the most part, people have been pretty good. And then the complete opposite of that, again at Disney one time, this one guy who like I didn't even know, I don't even know how it came up actually, but he started talking to one of our other coworkers for that day because we were doing the parade, and he kind of like brings him over to me and he's like, look at this guy's face. He's like, it is so cool. And I think it makes you look so unique. And I think I literally almost cried that day because that was the first time that anyone had really kind of complimented me on what I think is so ugly. That really kind of changed my perspective from that point on. There will be people out there that will actually love you for your differences and for your flaws. And I just thought it was such a cool moment. That meant more to me than you'll probably ever know. For anyone else that may also have Rombergs or maybe going through something kind of similar, the best advice I can give you is to, one, I really do recommend getting surgeries if you are able to. One, just because it helps prolong the advancement of the disease, and two, it also just helps with your self-confidence, I think. If I hadn't had these past few surgeries, I don't even know what my face would look like right now. And that's kind of a really scary thought. Some other advice I can give you, I know it's not much, but sit down, look at yourself in the mirror, and get to know your disease. And I don't mean like going online and freaking yourself out with everything that you read. Just sit down, kind of like get to know it. Accept the fact that there may not be anything you can do to change it. With just reaching that level of acceptance, I feel like it's gonna get so much easier from that point on. And I know that's such a hard thing to do. It takes so much time. It took me years, and it's something that I'm still struggling with and something that I'm still self-conscious about. But just taking those steps to at least try is better than not at all. I would also say just go out there, live your life to the fullest, because what else can you do? I mean, really. But yeah, thanks for listening to my story. I hope that you guys learned a little bit more about Rombergs. If there's anything that you still have questions about or something I may have left out, leave me a comment down below. I would love to hear from you. If you yourself are going through Rombergs, please leave me a comment. I also have my social media accounts in the description down below. Check that out. I would love to connect with you guys. And yeah, I guess that's all for now. Thank you guys so much for watching this video and for supporting my journey. For those of you that I know personally, it means a lot to me. Hopefully this third surgery goes well. Maybe I'll do an update video, I don't know. And until next time, I'll see you guys later. Take care. Bye.